Welcome back, everybody. Sarcasm Speaks, Jared and Bob coming at you for another episode in our time. It's like a million episodes over the last week. But that being said, this will be somewhat in the past. I don't actually know when this episode is going to come out.
Theoretically, they should come out last Monday in September. Is that right?
Uh,
No, they
no.
should come out the last Thursday in September.
Yeah, this is the Thursday episode. Because the three we just did are going to be next week. Boom, boom. So this is, I believe today is September 26th. um,
A lot can
shout
happen in
out,
16 days, dude.
shout out to my cousin Rick. That means it's today's his birthday. His,
Sup, Rick?
um, so yeah, a lot could happen between now and the 26th, or as the people
I
that are
fucking
listening
doubt
to
it.
it know it as called today. um, But in our today, we need to take a loser lap because we had a swing and a miss on James Earl Jones. He died the other day. So that's another one where it feels like I want to say that someone had him at some point, but I don't think anybody did.
He also could have been a respect play. Like, no one's going to take Morgan Freeman because no one wants him to die.
Right. Yeah, no, that's true too.
There's
Yeah,
a few respect plays still out there.
right. Right.
I'll tell you, I mean, I don't have much.
Yeah. There's not much respect I got left.
No.
But yeah, so he died. The interesting thing about James Earl Jones, and I know you probably know this because I sent it in the text group, but for anyone out there that doesn't know, he sold the rights to his likeness a couple of years ago, and as a result, they can now use artificial intelligence to recreate his voice, like legally and in movies without him being alive.
Yeah. Can you imagine? So, isn't it like one of the stats, like the odds of you being born a human is like 1 in 4 trillion or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Something like that. How many people are on the planet?
Roughly 8 billion.
8 billion. You know,
Yeah, so you have to do the permutation of like a 1 in 4 trillion chance of being born a human, and then a 1 in 8 billion chance of that 1 in 4 trillion, right? So it's like I don't know what the permutation on that is,
but there's only
but
one
it's a
James
lot.
Earl Jones. So that's
But there's
also
only
over
one.
70 years or
Yeah.
however. I don't even know how old he was.
Yeah, I don't know how old he was
He's
either.
got to be older than that. He was in fucking Star Wars. So he's got to be in his 80s.
Yeah. 93.
93. So 1 in 4 trillion over 93 years of just being human.
Yeah,
And mix in an 8 billion or yeah, an 8 billion chance of being him,
right.
being the only him, because there's no one else, or I mean, 3 in 8 billion chance because there's like three people who have a voice like his.
Right.
To the point that you won the genetic lottery so hard that there's no one on earth that can replace your voice, that they're
Yeah.
just going to AI your voice.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's like ultimate respect, right? Where they're just like, hey man, listen, we know that there's not a chance we could ever get
But the thing, like, you're
anyone
not
to
Morgan
ever
Freeman.
have a
That's a different. I
voice
mean,
like you ever.
speaking of them, like they've got different voices.
Right. And they're both iconic, right? Between James Earl Jones and Morgan Freeman, both very iconic in their own rights, but they're not the same. Like you can't have Morgan Freeman do James Earl Jones voice roles. Everyone would be like, what are you doing? Why is God playing Darth Vader?
Yeah, and
Right.
then you mix in the
Like,
guy that does the sports hub commercials for Right Window and Reed's Ferry Sheds, and I mean that's
yeah.
like three like superstars. But yeah, I mean whatever those permutations are, so it's 1 in fucking 70 quintillion.
Yeah.
which is a made up number. Or would
Probably
quintillion be
bigger.
the five, whatever?
I think
Like,
it's the
obviously,
five. Trillion, quadrillion, I think quintillion. So it
okay.
would be like way more than probably a quintillion.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking that's actually definitely not enough illions.
Because I think you would need to multiply. I don't know how if this is
It's
how
probably like
exactly
a
how it works, but would you multiply
decillion.
4 trillion by 1 in 8
Don't even know,
billion?
dude. This is
I have no
not.
idea.
I went over this today. Girl of ours transferred schools, whatever. She's got to take like theology for the first time in her life, and then like, I'm making fun of that. And eventually, we were talking. I don't know. We were talking about classes, whatever. And I was talking about one of the math classes I took in college, and like I needed a statistics class. I took business calc my first semester because I took calculus in high school. Almost bombed it. I don't even know how the fuck I got through that class. Which seems to be like it was like every other year I just bombed a math class.
Yeah.
So I had to take a stats class, whatever, and I'm like still fucking scarred. So I took whatever it was, like Math 106, like the most entry statistics requirement.
Yeah.
And it's a statistics class, so you do something. And then the second unit was doing math from different world cultures, which is drawing pictures.
Yeah.
So like you do math in Egyptian, it's like you draw the astonished man. It's 1,000. If there are five astonished men, it's 5,000. Like that's what we did for unit two. It was
Yeah.
fucking absurd. So based on that's the last math class I took. There is no way that I can even tell you how to even begin to calculate that. Something
Yeah.
needs to be squared somewhere.
So I believe it's a sextillion. Um,
I mean, dude, it sounds reasonable. Like,
because a billion has 9 zeros and a trillion has 12 zeros. So I think it's when you start to get to exponents. I think when you multiply with exponents, you just add the exponents together. So 10 to the ninth power, 10 to the 12th power gives you 10 to the 21st power, which is a sextillion. So obviously it's not a clean like 1 in sextillion because it's 8 billion and 4 trillion, right? So
yeah,
it's like whatever, but it's roughly a sextillion. 1 in sextillion
it's numbers that you just can't even fathom.
are the odds of being James Earl Jones.
Yeah. And none of you
And
have a good
having a
enough
voice
voice
like him. Yeah, yeah.
to replace him.
Yeah,
It's like, is there anyone else with a decent enough voice? Fuck it, just AI him.
yeah. Just use AI. So, yeah, I mean, I mean, like I said, that's a high level respect thing, right? Like they know, like they're not gonna mess with any roles, right? Because obviously Darth Vader is probably one of the most iconic roles in cinema history.
Dude, they're
Um,
gonna use him
he's
for
also
Bell Atlantic
Mufasa.
commercials like he used to do.
Yeah, yeah, they'll bring back Bell Atlantic just to have him in commercials, right?
Bell Atlantic
Like,
and Nine. I was talking to my mother. Those two companies came up. My father used to work for them, and I guess, uh, so we know how we were talking about because I told her about the electrician, and she's like, yeah, she goes like, your father went to carpentry school, which I didn't know he went to school for. I just kind of thought he like kind of learned,
uh-huh.
like informally. And she was like, why don't you like do that? And he goes, no, he goes, I need a job with security, whatever, like security benefits, da 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 da, whatever, like, the 1980s
Right,
thought, right?
right, right. And a job with a pension.
With a pension and all that. And, like maybe that worked out for him. I don't really know. Like, I don't know because how do you like go back and like redo math? Because technically, if
Right,
he did become a GC, you can make like unlimited money. But
right.
whatever. But I guess he was like working as a GC with a guy because 9X was on fucking strike. So, and like it was when he came out of that, she goes, like, why are you going back to the phone company? Like, why don't you? Like you're good at this, just go do that. It's like, oh no,
Yeah.
no, like security and pension and benefits and all that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, he were I remember 9X, and then I remember when 9X became Bell Atlantic,
Yeah. Yeah.
and now
Isn't
it's
it
all
funny
Verizon.
how, I mean, you're talking 30 years, right? Roughly over the span of 30 years.
We're talking way
We,
closer to 40, but I mean, what's 10 years in this
yeah. Yeah.
thing?
So call it like, over the span of roughly like 30 to 40 years, you've gone from all of these small local companies to just major conglomerations that own everything.
Yeah.
Like in the grand scheme of like the world, right? I know we were just talking about counting up to a sextillion. Um, but also like, with the James Earl Jones being in the 93-year period of this, like 40 years in, even not even just, don't even say human history, right? Like don't even take it back like 100,000 years, or let alone like the amount of time that the solar system has been here, and the billions, if not more. Just look at modern history, right? Like since the Industrial Revolution was what, in like the 1830s ish. Um, so since 1830, that's 200 years, right? The last 30 years to 40 years is what, 10% ish, maybe a little bit more of modern history. Like just then we've gone from all of these, again, these little tiny companies to just major conglomerations. Like I remember, obviously, like I said, I remember Bell Atlantic, but I also remember when Singular Wireless was a thing, right? Like the little orange dude, and then that got bought by AT&T, and now AT&T, then AT&T bought DirecTV, right? And now not only does AT&T offer cell phone service, but they also offer satellite TV through DirecTV. They also offer internet now, right? And it's like, don't even get me started on Comcast, right? Obviously, Comcast now has everything. They have Comcast Mobile, like they have everything. And it's like back in the day, there used to be these little smaller companies, right? Like I'm sure they were still worth, tens of millions of dollars back in the 80s and 90s, but they're not like hundreds of billions like they are today, right? Like there's four major phone carriers. That's it. It's Verizon, AT&T, T-Mobile. Why can't I think of the other one? Are there just three now?
Well, Sprint's gone, right?
Yeah, because Sprint got bought by T-Mobile. So there might only be three. So
Yeah,
there's
because I
only
think
three.
I could be forgetting something, and someone's probably listening, being like, "Yes, you two are retarded. That is for sure." But like, yeah, I mean, like the crickets and the
Well, those ones all are subsidiaries of the larger companies, right? And they ping off the tower, right? So like Cricket, I used to know this because I'm a fucking weirdo, but like Cricket uses the AT&T service. I think Boost uses the T-Mobile service, and Mint uses the Verizon service. So they're all effectively subsidiaries of the larger companies, because they
yeah.
don't
So I
offer their
mean,
own service. They use the other service for towers.
yeah. So I mean, you're looking at Verizon, T-Mobile, AT&T, and then it just kind of depends on where you look at it from there. Like, it depends on what you consider Xfinity. Um, After that, I mean, it's Mint, it's Visible, it's Google Fi, it's Cricket, like
Yeah,
US Mobile, US Cellular. US Cellular can't still be in business. No way.
yeah, I think they
Still
are.
in business. Straight talk.
But like those ones are also, those aren't local either, right? Like Bell Atlantic was
None of these are local.
only in the East Coast, right? Like
And I think I think even still, my grandfather, I don't know what phone company it was, definitely worked for like the local of local in Cambridge, your
Right.
favorite place. People
Yeah.
forget it's fun to get
People
to
forget
and
how
of.
awesome it is.
Um, Whatever phone company it was, he worked for them. Had to have been bought by 9X, like 100%. Like
Yeah.
I won't really believe much else. Pac Bell? Is Pac Bell a thing?
Yeah. Yeah. Pac Pacific Bell, the Pacific Bell Company.
Maybe not them then.
Well, it's funny because you can tell how old these companies are because they all had Bell for Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the phone. So it was like Pacific Bell and Bell Atlantic and all these things. It's like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We're just going to use Alexander Graham Bell's name in our company to let everyone know that we're a phone company. Because the phone also was probably invented, what, like 100 years ago, wasn't it? Like the early 1900s. When was the phone invented? 1869. All right, so late 1800s. Alexander Graham Bell. So yeah, I mean, phone companies haven't
12.
really been around that long. But even like, so the steel companies, right? Like I'm less familiar with that, but I know like there used to be a lot more.
Pittsburgh Steel?
Yeah, 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 good old Pittsburgh Steel. Um, but there used to be like a lot of other smaller steel companies all on the East Coast, right? Yeah, I know there's a lot in Pittsburgh, but then they all got bought out by US Steel, right? So US Steel was like the largest manufacturer, and now they were almost bought out by Nippon Steel, which is based in Japan.
Japan. They make golf
Um,
shafts.
yeah. Um, there's like some weird shit going on with the government just trying to step in and block the sale because then the United States technically wouldn't own any steel production itself. So I think the government's like, wait a second, let's rethink this here.
Geez, you could
Um,
almost actually argue that that's like a legitimate like action.
yeah, I know something that the
That's
government
so
should do.
weird.
Yeah, it's kind of odd. Um, but yeah, I'm trying to think like even on a different kind of scale, right? There's on these like giant retail box stores, right? Like there used to be like oh fuck, what was it called? Flares was in Malden Square. It was like
I don't know. Malden's not my territory.
yeah, it was like fuck yeah, I don't know what it was. I was so young going in there. I used to go there with my grandmother all the time. She loved it. But even like Caldor, right? Or Ames, or like some of
Bradley's.
these smaller local, yeah, Bradley's, right? These local like chain stores. And now it's just all Walmart and
Ocean State.
Target, right? Yeah, Ocean State. I mean, they're still around.
Well,
Um,
they're the ones buying up the small places now.
yeah.
Like any Benny's is now in Ocean State.
Oh yeah, Benny's too. Benny's is gone. Like they're yeah, yeah. So you know what I mean? Like it's just kind of crazy how, like I said, over the last 30 years, we've gone from like these smaller local chains to just a massive conglomeration like a Walmart, right? Like you're not gonna find they don't exist. So I was just gonna say you're not gonna find a Caldor or Ames somewhere. You're not because they went out of business and they got purchased by some larger company, right? But even like grocery stores, right? Like we used to have Food Master, right? Around that was a Boston area only, right? Like there was just a couple Food Masters. There was shit. What was the one in West Medford before it was a Whole Foods? Do you remember
You
the one I'm
know,
talking? You know what I'm talking about?
Wild Harvest.
Wild Harvest. Yeah, yeah.
Oof,
So
that's a
like,
deep pull, dude.
yeah, that was a good one. I was not expecting you to be
Wow.
able to get that one. Um,
Well, I just knew it was fucking weird shit before too.
yeah, yeah. I'm trying to think of any of these other like random food stores that we used to have. But like now it's all Stop and Shop or Shaw's, right? I mean, Shaw's is kind of going away, but Star Market, right? Star Market was local. That was a local Massachusetts thing. And then they got bought out by Shaw's, right? So now, like, some Shaw's still say Star Market on it, but they're all owned by Shaw's. Osco, remember the Osco drug?
Well, the drugstore in
Yeah,
Foodmaster.
yeah. Then it got bought by Shaw's, right? So then Shaw's kind of had Osco in them. Um, like how Target has CVS in them, right? And it's like now, but now it's all Target and Walmart, and that's it. That's all you're gonna find anywhere. And like on Stop and Shop, right? And you obviously there's still some Market Baskets. Um, but I would make the argument probably that Market Basket is no longer a small local spot because now they're everywhere from like Maine through Connecticut, I think. They're all through New England, which I guess it's regional, right? So it's not a Stop and Shop, right? It's not a Whole Foods, it's not national. Um, but all the small little local spots are gone. They just don't exist anymore. It's kind of odd how it happened. And truthfully, I don't really know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm not an economist,
Doesn't matter.
right?
It's
Like,
reality. Like
yeah,
that's ultimately it doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's happened in the
right,
past.
right. Just like us right now.
Yes.
But our present is your past. And we're talking to you in
Bro,
the
I don't have the
future.
brain power to fucking follow this. Like, keep it fucking simple. Either make a joke that we're in the future or just fucking talk in the present. That's all I got.
Future. All right, I got something here that is, if you want to talk like mind blowing, this is actually mind blowing. Um, before we wrap things up. So I saw this recently. I've heard a couple people talk about it on some podcasts too. So we all know the New York Times is kind of like full of shit, right? At this point, like it's fake. It's not even like actual journalists anymore. They're all trying to push a narrative, whatever, right? It's unfortunate because the New York Times is supposed to be, the gold standard, but it's not. So there was an article in the New York Times recently, and I'm just going to read you the headline. And it says, "The Constitution is sacred. Is it also dangerous? One of the biggest threats to America's politics might be the country's founding document." So it is at the New York Times, so it is behind a paywall, but I could read like the first couple paragraphs. Um, So I'll skim through it real quick. The U.S. Constitution is in trouble after Donald Trump lost the 2020 election. He called for a termination of all the rules, regulations, even those found in the Constitution. Outraged critics denounced him for threatening a document that's supposed to be sacrosanct. By announcing his desire to throw off constitutional constraints in order to satisfy his personal ambitions, Trump was making his authoritarian inclinations abundantly clear. Right. So when I first read that, I was like, that's kind of odd that like the title is saying the Constitution is dangerous. It's coming from the New York Times. It slants left, but they're painting the picture of Donald Trump being the one that wanted to abolish the Constitution. So like, how are they going to spin this one? So don't worry, because in a paragraph further down, they change, they turn, and they say Trump actually owes his political assent to the Constitution, making him a beneficiary of a document that is essentially anti-democratic. Really, did was unaware of that one. And they go, after all, Trump became president in 2016 after losing the popular vote, but winning the Electoral College. And they have in parentheses Article 2 of the Constitution. He appointed 3 justices to the Supreme Court, Article 3 of the Constitution, 2 of whom were confirmed by senators representing just 44% of the population, Article 1 of the Constitution. Those 3 justices helped overturn Roe v. Wade, a reversal which almost all Americans disagreed with. The eminent legal scholar, whatever, worried, go on all this bullshit, yada, yada, yada. So you want to talk about a spin. The
You ever
title
seen
of
the
the article.
Have you seen the Norman Osborn meme in the scene where he's like, "Oh, I too consider myself a scientist" or
Yeah,
whatever,
I'm
or
something of a
something?
scientist myself.
Yeah. You ever see the one that says, "I'm something of a fucking retard myself"?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Whoever wrote this article, wow, that is impressively unimpressive.
Yes.
Because your intro paragraph, now I'm no English teacher and I'm no journalism major or anything. Usually your intro paragraph kind of sets the table for like what the article is going to be about.
Yeah.
Well, kind of almost made it seem like we were going to go one way and then immediately flipped the other way without a logical bridge to how we got there.
Yeah. Yeah. No, we
And
got to
never,
hit him with a M. Night Shyamalan twist
then never mind.
in our New York Times articles.
You're you're just trying to do what the fucking bill sitting on the fucking cartoon stairs of the U.S. Senate or the Capitol
Yeah.
did a million years ago. Like we fucking know how it works. Thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. So the
Well,
headline
by
says that
retards for retards,
the Constitution is the biggest threat to the country.
right?
That's oh,
Because Trump used it,
okay. But at the beginning, they say, well, Trump wanted to abolish the Constitution. Well,
right?
according to your headline, wouldn't that have been a good thing if he succeeded? But
This is
then
what I mean. Is
after
like
that intro paragraph, they're like, well, actually, it's the Constitution is the reason why he was allowed to even become president in the first place. And esto facto, right, because he appointed justices who did something we didn't like, therefore, by and large, we conclude the Constitution equals bad and we need to get rid of it.
so bad, dude. So bad.
How how dumb? How dumb are we that this is where we
Well, it
are?
depends. It depends on how. So it depends. This. Hey, let me say it depends one more time. This is how you know I'm fucking. Now I'm
Dude, do you
like,
work for the New York
I'm,
Times?
I'm gaining fucking Tourette's. So if you read that and don't immediately go after reading those first, whatever, what would you say? Those four paragraphs.
Yeah.
I am now dumber for having read that. I am awarded no points and may God have mercy on my soul. At no
Yes.
point would any of these things be construed as a coherent thought, rational thought.
Yeah.
There's nothing there.
No.
Someone's going to look at that and be like, oh, wow, Constitution bad. And those are the people that you need to be concerned with. Now, back in the day, like I think an appropriate thing would be to put a barrel over their head and then just like hit them with a bunch of wiffle ball bats or sticks or something. Um,
Maybe throw them down a hill.
and it's fucked up too because I've been seeing on Instagram like it's mostly parody, but there's truth behind it, and it's like when you get rid of bullying, this is why you get
Yeah.
this type of stuff. Like whoever wrote this article doesn't actually realize how much of a fucking jackass they are.
Yeah.
And it's because you can't like crush them like the way that you used to be able to.
Right.
So
Yeah,
now it's
that's a
like,
really good point.
well, okay, so it's like let's use a lighter example, right? Because politics always gets fucking lame.
Yeah.
So let's take the Fried Egg Golf, right?
Yeah.
Because they've been under scrutiny, whatever. So their deal is they're architecture people. Now, the architecture side of things is a little bit more abstract. It's a like softer skill, right? There's nothing that says it has to be this is good and this is bad. Like,
Right. Right.
no, golf has some preference and some things like variability, whatever. But the way they talk is what they say is correct. Like they act as the authority.
Their
And
way
then
is
if
the
you
only way.
and then if you criticize them, they just be like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Like you can't, you have no idea. Like you don't know what you're saying. Like you can't, they
Right.
can't handle the criticism of being wrong or not making any sense.
Right.
So if you just take that golf example, it's the same thing. Like, I'm not talking bullying, like bullying someone into like, mental health issues or self harm or anything, but like,
Right. But just being able to tell someone that they're fucking stupid.
yeah, like being able to be like, this was a shitty article. And
Yeah.
like, you might be bad at writing. Oh, you can't say
Right.
that to me. I write for the New York Times. What do you mean I'm a bad at writing? Well, I read your article and it fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Ah, you hate women, or you hate men, or you hate black men, or you hate
Yeah. Yeah.
fucking straight, whatever. It's like,
Right. Right.
it always gets turned around that like you can't criticize anybody.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of fucking people in this world that need to be fucking criticized.
Yes, I would agree with that.
And never mind, like again, like even like some of the fucking protesting shit you're seeing right now, it's like those people have probably never been fucking criticized in their entire life because they grew up in an age where it's like, oh no, can't criticize someone. That's bullying.
Yeah.
Bullying serious.
Yeah. It's like, no, maybe you need to be bullied, right? Like maybe
Actually,
we need
I think
people to be bullied
the most
again.
recent video I saw was some dude dressed as a cat, and like someone on the street was just fucking ripping the dude a new one. It's like,
Yeah.
what the fuck is wrong with you? You're dressed
Maybe
like a
that should be
fucking cat.
the new tagline is make bullying great again. Or bring back
I think
bullying.
someone's definitely tried this, like
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
I've seen it multiple times because
Yeah. Because I mean, right, like to
there is
your
some
point,
truth.
I think, I mean, this is probably controversial, but again, we don't get more than 100 people to listen to the show at any one time. So, it's not like we're that controversial. Um, I think bullying is necessary. I think some bullying is necessary, right? Like you said, obviously to the point of like causing mental health issues, like that's fucked up, right? Like you need to know when to stop and almost how to bully someone, right? Like,
I also want to throw the I'm not talking kids currently because bullying's been so like I think it's like a
yeah,
fashion style. They don't know
right.
how to do it right.
They
So
don't. They don't.
like so what they're doing is actually fairly harmful
Yeah.
and teeters on fucked up.
Well, yeah. I mean, we could go down that whole rabbit hole. It should be like, 4 hours long,
Yeah,
right?
we're
Of
not doing
saying
that,
like
but
they do it wrong because of they have different access to different things. Like when we were kids, to get bullied was like you said, like, hey man, that's really fucking stupid. Don't ever like shut your fucking mouth. Don't say that again, right? Like stop being dumb.
people
Whereas
also
like
had to do it to your
today,
face.
right? Yeah, that's a great point. Do it to your face because that's what I was going to get to was that today with social media and apps and the internet, like there's no escape from it either, right? Like if you got bullied at school, like you were bullied at school and then you got home and you were done with it, right? But like now, like they bully you online and you're home and you're looking at shit, there's no reprieve, right? But
Yeah,
I
and
think some bullying is necessary.
it also again back in the day too. It also used to be like, you get bullied, you take a swing at someone.
Right, right, yeah,
Usually that
yeah,
solved
right.
any
It
issues you
solved a
had
lot of solved a lot of problems,
most of the time.
right?
Now
But
you might
like
have to
some
get your
people
ass
do
beat,
need to be
but
told that they're really fucking stupid or like something they
yeah, that's
said
the
was really
thing.
dumb.
So that's the thing is like, is it a strong term? Yeah, it's a strong term. It's also alliteration, like bring back
Right,
bullying.
right,
But
right.
that's the thing. It's like it's bringing back criticism,
Right.
like letting stupid people know they're stupid. Never let a
Yeah.
sucker keep their money. Like those are like foundational concepts of society, like that need to happen because you get like back in the day, you get geniuses and they were fucking weird as hell.
Oh yeah.
And people would kill them. It's like, oh, Einstein, what are you going to do? Come up with like some theory for relativity? Well, actually, it's
Yeah.
like, okay, German, fuck, like that's not going to work. And then you persevere and accomplish it,
Right.
right? Like
Right. Right.
that used to be a thing, like perseverance. Like now it's like, I'm a cat. You
Yeah.
know, I think you are.
Yeah.
Like if you want to be a cat, I guess you're a cat.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess you
It's like
can be a cat, Johnny, if you want to. Do you need me to get you a litter box installed in the
that Newton.
bathroom?
Was that in Newton?
I don't know, something like that.
They put litter boxes out for the
Yeah.
fucking the
Yeah.
cat
It's like,
humans.
no, how about we tell this kid that that's fucking stupid to be a
Yeah,
cat,
you're not
right?
fitting in a box. How about that?
How about you kids bully him until he figures out that that's really fucking stupid and he realizes he's not a cat.
I mean, it happened in Dodgeball. Steve the Pirate.
That's true. It did work in dodgeball. R, is his son a treasure?
Only member of our team that dresses like a pirate. Yeah. But that's the thing is like it's an extreme take, but then you get articles like this because I
Right.
don't know who wrote it, male, female, old, young, black, blue,
Yeah.
green, like they've probably never been told like, oh, that's a bad article.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Or
a white
or
woman.
or it comes from the top where it's like they write a regular article and the editor's like, let me fuck this up. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, sir.
Yeah.
Or ma'am.
Yeah. But yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. Back to the article, right? Like the Constitution is the problem. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like
That's like
that's
the first like that's like the first like moderately terrifying thing that's like kind of come from a lot of this because a lot of this shit's stupid, but like the idea that someone would publish that in the New York Times, which means people are going to read that and blindly accept it, it's like
yeah.
a little bit terrifying to hear.
Yeah. You have people that are going to go around now and like openly say, "Oh, well, the Constitution is the problem with the country."
Right. We should get a new
It's
one.
like, yeah, it's like, oh, geez, okay, here we go.
I
And all those people that are like, oh, we should have new amendments and all this stuff. It's like, okay, we have a process for that.
Yeah. But you also can't just have an amendment for anything you want.
Exactly. There's a reason why it was made very difficult in order to do that, right?
Like changing a
Because,
meal plan.
yeah.
Did I tell
Yeah.
you, did I use that example? Like we used to have a meal plan software and people like, so it would spit out a meal plan, like as designed by someone.
Oh,
And
that kind of. I thought you were talking about like the meal plans in college.
no, like people, no, like, so like a dietary meal plan, like
Yeah.
it would spit out kind of
I
like
want to have
this,
platinum.
whatever. And like, it's just like really hard to change everything. I go, you're not supposed to change everything.
Right.
If you don't eat tuna, change it to chicken. Like,
Right.
you're not supposed to change everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with the fucking amendments. You don't just fucking pass an amendment on a fucking whim.
Yeah. I think the last amendment that got passed was in 1991, I think.
No clue.
And it had to do, I think, with pay increases in Congress.
Right.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, that said, you want to wrap this up?
We
We
can
got
wrap
another
this
one of
up.
these bitches to do.
Mine's gonna be quick. I have gotten through my 27 units
Oh,
of
nice.
DuoLingo. So
Let's
now I'm
go.
on section 3. It's just like section 2. I don't know what the big deal was.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yep, can confirm. Definitely not gonna know enough Italian by the time I get over there.
Well, you have to focus more on the Romanche. Everyone knows that.
I mean, I'm not talking to the Swiss fucking guard.
I mean, what if you have to?
Fuck are they talking to me for?
I don't know. You got to protect the Pope.
I don't have to do shit. I shouldn't be allowed anywhere near the Pope.
Don't forget to bring your spoon cooker just in case the Pope needs a fix.
Yes. I will try to remember my spoon cooker, which isn't allowed on flights.
Oh, what a great TV show that was.
I see you
Um,
later. Hmm? Your spoon cooker.
oh, okay. So my final thought is just to reiterate that I fucking hate everything about my job right now. because the project, well, again, it's not the job per se, it's the project that I'm on. Um, and just the fucking moronic people that I have to work with. Um, Everything seems to be the fault of my company, right? Like I said this to Amy when I got home because I was fucking pissed because I was on a call. I was on my 4:30 call today that ended at 5:35. Um,
At least it was
not
quick.
yeah, it was a quick one today. Um, yeah, the 4:30 to 5 o'clock call that went until 5:35. Um, and right at the end, there was a woman who works for one of our competitors, right? But is also kind of on the project in a different role, doing whatever. And she starts going, "Oh, I have a question. Or I have one more thing to add." Right. And she goes, so Jared, when you sent over the gas plan, there's a couple things on here that don't quite make sense because why would we have compressed air in this area? So I'm in the car and I'm driving and I go, I'm fucking pissed, right? This meeting always goes long. I hate this project. Like, I'm so fucking done with people's bullshit on this. I immediately just come off mute and I go, what? Excuse me. No, hold on one second. Sorry. Sorry to interrupt you, but I just want to make something clear. Um, I did not create the the gas cylinder layout for this place. I reached out to the architectural firm and the guy, I said the guy's name. I go, he sent me this plan where the cylinders are supposed to be according to the architectural plans. I do not decide where gas cylinders go because I'm not an architect. And then I immediately went back on mute. And the woman was like, "Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I thought that you had put this together, or at least that you had confirmed everything was okay." And then like kept on like bitching about and being like, "Well, either way, there's a cylinder on the third floor. It doesn't make sense why it's here. We have a house system. Why does it say this?" And then affected like she said whatever she said, and then it was just dead silence because like I'm not coming back off mute to talk to you to tell you that like you're wrong, right? Like I forwarded you the plans that I received from the architectural firm, right? No one from that architectural firm is on this call to answer your question about why there, it says there's supposed to be a cylinder for compressed air when there's a house gas system for that. So like she literally went through this whole diatribe about it and then that was it. So I was like texting my boss the whole time being like, "Are you fucking serious?" And he was like, "Yeah, this is absurd."
Was the architect Art Vandelay?
Yeah. So I told my boss today, I was like, I think you should probably just fire me because I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it to next Friday without saying something to someone because I am all out of fucks to give and they are really pushing my buttons.
So here's the fatal flaw, right? For a guy that gets fired up, which is I know all too well.
I mean,
You
my
are
boss was just laughing, right? Like I said in a previous episode, right? Like we have a really good relationship. Like, we fuck around a lot. And he was just laughing about it. And I was like, I'm only kind of joking.
yeah, it's a lot of work to do what you're thinking. It's way easier just to be incompetent for a week.
Yeah.
Don't answer people. Like, oh yeah, I don't know. Like, what do you mean you don't know? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, did you like work on this? I'd have to check into it.
Yeah. I'll look into it.
What do you mean you look into it? I'll look into it.
Yeah.
You just leave it like they won't have anything to say to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's funny too, because like the project team knows that I'm leaving after next week. Because obviously we had to tell them. but like they're just still like, why didn't you do this or why didn't you do that or where's this or where's that, right? But like I had finally had enough today because so that's what I was
Yeah,
saying
but
too.
that's fine
I
because
said that to Amy when I got home, and I go, we fucking move people. Like my job is to make sure that stuff goes from point A to point B. You're gonna come at me about gas cylinders and where they are in these labs. I don't know fuck all about gas cylinders and argon and helium and all this. Why is compressed air over here? Well, I don't know. I got that from the guy that does know, and I forwarded it to you because you asked for it. Because you couldn't go to the architect, couldn't be bothered to email the architect himself and ask for these plans. You came to me. It goes, oh, do you have these? No, but I can get them for you. So I went and got them for you by talking to the architect. Something you, again, apparently couldn't be bothered to do yourself. And then in that process, you're like, oh yeah, these gas cylinder plans that you created. Listen, bitch, I
hey,
didn't
I'm glad
fucking create
you
anything.
should like. I'm honored that you think I'm an architect, but
Yeah.
I do not have the credentials.
Yeah, I'm flattered that you think I'm capable of doing this, but I fucking
I
did
I
not.
assure you, I am not.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's why Amy was like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. She goes, does she know like what your job does? And I go, no, no
No.
one does. No one does. Because they just put everything on us. They're like, oh, yeah, you guys can do that, right?
Well, that's because
Like,
remember, going back, like going way back, technically, you guys don't do anything
that's
because
true.
you don't move,
We don't actually move, we
you
consult.
don't assign the seats,
Yeah.
you don't do the plans,
Nope. We're
you're
not
not
space
architects,
planners.
you don't do the plumbing or the HVAC or the
Nope.
construction.
Nope.
What would you say you do here?
We oversee.
You're Tom Smikowski.
Yes. Yep. Yep.
You're gonna have to get hit by a car and fucking build a jump to conclusions, man.
Yes. So the good news is when this comes out on September 26th, I will be at my new job. So if you're listening to this, doesn't matter because I don't care anymore because I'm not working there. So that's going to do it. So thank you for watching. If you're on YouTube, don't forget to subscribe up above, hit the thumbs up down below. Subscribe if you're an audio only guy as well. Leave us 5 stars and a review on Spotify and iTunes. That would be very helpful. Thank you. You can get us on Instagram at Sarcasm Speaks Pod, Twitter is Sarcasm_speaks, Facebook is Sarcasm Speaks, website sarcasmspeaks.com. Check out the show notes below, support the sponsors, get some cool stuff, support us. And until next time, good night, everybody.